Welcome. My name's Eric Crump. I'm with the Homewood-Flossmoor Chronicle. We're talking tonight with members of the Greater Homewood Party who are running for the April 1 election for Board of Trustees seats. Tonight we talked about a number of issues. One thing that came out from all of their comments is that they love the community and the direction the community is going and want to maintain our reputation as a place of integrity and as a place for economic growth and integrity. And they also want to provide the kind of support for residents that they need in terms of being available, listening to concerns, finding new ways, if necessary, to have the community engage with the board. And they're also thinking about the issues that may affect our community that are happening on the federal level, where there is a certain amount of uncertainty right now with the direction that existing institutions are going. And they're ready to try to help our community grapple with any problems or challenges that those changes result in. Okay, first, we'd like to give everyone an opportunity just to introduce themselves, say your name and what position you're running for, and then just talk a little bit about why you decided to put your name on the ballot. So, Patrick, why don't we start with you?
Yes, thank you, Eric. My name is Patrick Siemsen. I'm running for the position of trustee with the Greater Homewood Party. Honored to be even considered for the position. Been in Homewood over 20 years. My kids, my children, they all attended school here. My grandchildren are now attending school. Had great opportunities with that. Not only great opportunities, but great experiences. I've lived in several houses, apartments. I own property. I own a business in town. My perspective is a lot on the public safety. I did 27 years here with the Homewood Police Department. Had about 3 careers in criminal justice and law enforcement. Just had great opportunities. That has served me very well. I've since retired from the Homewood Police Department, and I went on to, I currently serve as chief of police for the city of Momence. I've been the chief of police in 3 different locations. In total, I've been employed, if you not consider my military service, 9 different municipalities in the south suburban area. From that, I have seen both good and bad. My commitments to Homewood, I love Homewood. I love everything about it. I've had, like I said, I retired from here. I had great opportunities. The village was so wonderful to me. I mean, it just really, really blessed to have a career here. I've seen from my experiences here that Homewood is the brand of excellence. It truly is. I know that some other candidates might say that. They might feel that. I lived it, and I currently live it. I see what's done right, and I see what's done wrong in government. And we know very closely here, we see if you have one bad person in a leadership position in the village, what could happen to that village. And that with our party, that doesn't happen. With Rich's successful track of service and commitment to the community, that doesn't happen here. And I want to protect that. I want to serve. My whole life has been public service, and I want to continue to serve and be part of the team here and make sure that we continue to have great services for our community.
Maintain that level of excellence.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, Patrick. Vivian, tell us about why you're running again.
I'm running again, as you all should know, that I've been a trustee since 2021. I'm running again due to the fact that I want to keep excellence in our community. The south suburbs are a gem, especially in Homewood. We have economic development that is just growing by leaps and bounds. Our community is made up of all walks of life, young, old, middle age, and I just feel that our community draws so many people into the community. I have been living in Homewood for 25 years, raised my kids here. They went to the HF school district. I'm currently working at Sunrise Senior Living of Flossmoor in Flossmoor, and I'm on the beautification committee also. I've been there since 2016, and I'm also the liaison for the Homewood Beautification Committee. As far as why I'm running again, I love Homewood. As you can see, I've been serving on the board, so I've seen a lot of improvements in our community, economic development, growth, so that's why I'm running again, to keep it safe, prosperous for our future.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Vivian.
Thank you.
You've been for a little while too, and have seen some things in your time on the board. Why do you want to continue to serve?
Yes, so I grew up in Homewood. I am now raising 3 kids in Homewood. They go to the 153 schools, and I'm running as the 2-year trustee. And I think that we've done a lot. I've been on the board for 6 years, and we've done a lot over those last 6 years. And things that I'm passionate about have moved in the right direction, I feel like. So I would like to continue. I think that, you know, we all will say economic development, we're a fiscally responsible community. I believe all of those things, that those are things that we need to continue. I also like that we have started to do more community engagement with our Civics Academy. We've had a lot more of an online presence recently in the last couple of years. I would like to see all of those things continue to grow. And I echo a lot of what's already been said, that we're just going to continue with what we've been doing that we think is building our community and making it a great place to live. I'm a full-time realtor, so I bring a little bit of a different perspective to the board because I know from my experience what it takes to protect your greatest asset. So I think about those things from a board perspective when we're voting on things. Is this going to help protect our community's, our residents' greatest asset, which is their home? So I think we're doing great things, and I enjoy being involved with all of it, and I want to keep having fun.
Phil's a little bit newer member of the Board of Trustees, but is trying to come back for a full term, right?
I would love to.
Yeah.
I would love to. So my name is Phil Mason. I am, along with being the newest member of the board, I'm probably the newest member to the community. I've been in Homewood since 2018. Lived in Glenwood since '92, so I was just down the street, so I've been around the area for quite a while. My career has been in law enforcement. I worked with the Cook County Sheriff's Department for 26 years before retiring, and took another job with the county in emergency management. So I'm a planning and preparedness manager for Cook County Department of Emergency Management and Regional Security. My reason for running for the position is just to continue my involvement in the community. I started here, just wanting to be involved and loving that opportunity was available for residents to get involved. My experience working in Cook County showed me that the communities that thrive are the communities that have the most active citizenry. Those individuals that are really invested in their community. One thing that really struck me about Homewood was the availability of the mayor, how readily available he is every Saturday morning, which speaks volumes because I've been around pretty much every community in Cook County, and that's very rare to have open access to leadership like that, to ask questions. So that impressed me, and I wanted to be a part of it. So I started by being on the Economic Development Committee. I believe I started there in 2019, and more recently I was the treasurer for a moment before filling in for Trustee Colton, who resigned. So I've enjoyed my time on this board. I want to continue. The things that are most important to me are maintaining the integrity and the character of this community. I'm a lifelong Chicagoan, and I was a lifelong Chicagoan till I moved to Homewood. And now my coworkers are sick of me talking about Homewood because I'm so invested in this community. Maintaining the character of the community, continuing with the economic development, and just being a voice for the residents. It's an honor to serve. It's an honor to be trusted to be in this position, and being a voice of the residents, a seat at the table is really important to me. Homewood reminds me so much of the community that I was raised in as a child on the south side of Chicago, where we knew all of our neighbors. We knew our garbage man. We knew the postman. You know, we had relationships with the teachers and everyone. It was a whole community, which is real important to me now in emergency management. So I want to protect that, and I want that to grow. And I also want to be an advocate for the resilience of the community through my experiences with emergency management and law enforcement. So
You bring some good experience to the table there, don't you? I'd like to start off again with a couple of issues that you all raised. Lauren and Phil especially mentioned community engagement and communication with residents. And Lauren mentioned that it had improved. The Citizens Academy is one example. Social media outreach is another example. And so one thing I'm wondering about is there still is, even though we have good communication, there still is a certain sense among residents sometimes that they're not fully heard or don't have an opportunity to really explain their concerns or their ideas. Even though there are opportunities, you still hear occasionally people say that we want, committee of the whole meetings or town hall meetings, and we don't have very many of those. So I was going to just toss out there what you think the direction should be, building on the work that's been done the last couple of years. Are there other things that Homewood should be doing to make residents feel more part of the process?
You want me to go with that?
Yeah, Lauren, why don't you go?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's always room for improvement no matter where you're at in any position, any municipality, school district, anything, right? So I think that, I guess I have a lot of thoughts about this because a lot of the people that have that opinion are the ones that do not attend our board meetings and that quite frankly sit behind their computer and complain about that on Facebook, but don't come out and come to the opportunities that we do have. I know there's been a call for the committee of the whole meetings, but I think that those are appropriate when there's an issue that needs to be discussed. And I do think that we've had some great examples of that when there was the casino that was opening. We did have a big meeting at Village Hall, and then that meeting, we didn't have enough room in that room, so we moved the next one to the Irwin Center. So we did have those open forums for people to come and talk, and then we did host those meetings for Calumet Country Club, the Calumet Country Club issue as well. I think that there's certainly opportunities for us to have those again in the future, but I think what people are asking for, they have the opportunity to come to our board meetings, and there's an opportunity at every board meeting to hear from the audience. Our mayor says if there's anyone that would like to approach the board and have comments on anything that's not on the agenda, please raise your hand and come up and speak to us. So that is, and our staff is there, the department heads are there, we're all there. So I think if the people that really want that start to show up to the board meetings and show that they're involved and that they're committed to coming to these things, that there may be more of an effort to have them. And also when the issues arise where those would need to be had, I do believe that we all would support having them in the future also.
I think one of the greatest things we do about that is what Phil brought up. And again, being in working in 9 different municipal governments, I've never seen that where the citizens are so openly welcome to come. It's a standardized practice. You know that he's there every Saturday morning. If he's available. But the other thing is the opportunity. A lot of times, and from my personal perspective, this is going to be my goal is to make sure that we're out in the community, no matter where it is, if it's a festival or anything, to have the opportunity. Now, that may be intimidating for some people to go. Not that Mr. Hofeld's intimidating, but there's quite a few people there. Some people communicate differently, but just having the ability to approach a trustee, make sure that that we're going to be approachable and available, so that the opportunity is there that they can speak about whatever their issue may be, or just to have a discussion. I think that's really important. I think at the last board meeting, I saw some of the new ideas that they're coming up with the social media, all the platform, amazing stuff. And we are constantly developing new strategies to engage, because again, people communicate differently. We have a very diverse group with age, and we want to communicate with all of them, so we have to utilize many different mediums and platforms to engage these different people. The other thing that I'm going to say is to ensure that we're engaging in multiple languages to hit all our different groups within the community.
Good suggestion. That's something you can't take for granted
Yes,
in a diverse
yes,
community.
very easy, very
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah,
You know, I just want to say, if the feel of the community is that there's not enough opportunity for them to voice their concerns, then there needs to be something that addresses it. If the community has, I mean, with all of the avenues to address concerns from residents, if the feel of the community is that they don't feel heard, then that means that we need to re-examine the ways in which we're allowing the community to be heard. And maybe the ways that we are presenting for them are not meeting the need as well as we'd like to believe they are. I do think that, and Patrick touched on a point about the diverse ways in which we allow people to be heard and to communicate. I know the new app that's coming out from Homewood, that's going to be a boom for a lot of people.
Yes.
And that's going to be, I'm sure they're going to have an opportunity to communicate directly to the village on some level there. But, I'm all for community engagement and talking to people and meeting with them and hearing their voices. But we've got to be considerate of the way in which people like to be heard.
Yes.
And it may not be the ways that we are necessarily asking them to present it.
And if you really think about the root, what our job is really about, it's that. It's about connecting with the residents and communicating their needs and solving those problems, however that is, whether we solve them, the department head solves them, Rich solves them, whatever it is. That is really our goal and our objective, so that's why this piece is so important, and I agree exactly what Phil said. We need to make the ability for them to be heard.
And also, excuse me, also we have a calendar of events coming out, and that opens up an avenue for people to come out. We're attending those events, the Fall Fest.
Yes.
Different events in the community, and we're there, we're approachable, people can talk to us there. It doesn't have to be a setting where you're in a meeting, out and about.
Yeah, meetings aren't always the best
Yes.
venue. I mean,
Right.
there is an opportunity to talk, but
Yeah.
not necessarily to converse.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, yes.
Yeah, so there's got to be other channels.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think all of us have been very open, one-on-one with people, on social media, at the board meetings, to, if you do have a concern, reach out to us. Our email addresses are on the website. People Facebook message me and bring up issues. I get approached at the school. Like, I know we've talked a lot about approaching people, but maybe that's not how someone wants to approach us or address us. They want to send an email or something, and then we can sit down and have a one-on-one coffee, or like Phil said, meet people where they're at. But I think that there are opportunities. We need to just figure out new ways to meet with other people.
Kind of an unending task figuring that out, right?
Yeah, of
Right.
course.
Well, there are some specific issues that have been kind of in the public consciousness the last year or so that I thought it might be good to talk about some of those and see what you think the next steps are. One of which it has to do with public engagement and how you present the facts, but also listen to people's concerns. Parking, okay? Parking is always a big one in Homewood. And so we have a study from a few years ago that said, we got plenty of parking. And we have people who say, there's not enough parking. All the people say, there's not enough parking. So how do you think the village can help resolve that issue of the study, the facts of the matter as established by a study versus the perceptions and needs of the people who are actually going downtown and trying to park? So,
I mean, I think we need a new parking study. I've said this publicly at the board meetings. I think that we've had, I can't remember off the top of my head what year that parking study is from, but we've had lots of changes in our downtown, and I think that we should not be referencing a parking study from prior to all of our new businesses opening in
It's
downtown.
like 2018, I think. wasn't
Yeah,
it?
I was gonna say pre-COVID,
Yeah.
I know that, so, I think it is worth doing a new parking study. If we're going to be referencing a parking study, we need to do a new parking study.
What do you think about that, Vicky?
I agree with Lauren. Also, I don't know if any of the residents have noticed, but we have parking signs now that have been purchased. Some are illuminated, some are not. They're in the vicinity of the downtown area. I've actually utilized some of the parking spaces, and I noticed that during the daytime, they're open. There are open spaces there, but I know people are probably concerned during festivals, maybe after 5 o'clock. We do have parking near the new metro station, I understand. That's open to residents. So I agree with Lauren. We probably do need to do another parking study.
Yeah, and that's an issue that comes into play again with another economic development
Yeah.
opportunity, the
Yes.
parking lot
Yeah.
as a
Yes.
site for a new residential
Right.
building.
Yeah.
So, and there's some people who are concerned about that. I think at meetings a couple of years ago, I'm not sure where everybody stands now, but there were people saying, how can we afford to give up parking spaces right by Village Hall
Yeah.
when we don't think we can find enough parking? So, I don't know, I guess one question is how you feel about that particular project and how it's proceeding, but also maybe it's a bigger issue too about whether the economic development strategy that we've had and been very successful at up to this point needs to make any adjustments going forward.
Well, I think you always have to, there always has to be a balance on that, you know, and we're getting some good growth here, you know. And I always think you need to balance that growth with the needs and the needs of obviously the businesses, but also our residents. Our residents are number one. So that's a very careful balance, and I think a lot of communities may forget that, but it is a careful balance, and residents have to be number one. And what we do has to be important on that, and it has to be number one to ensure that continues to, you know, because, yeah, we could grow, but if all your residents are mad because there's no parking, it doesn't make any sense. So there has to be that balance, and there has to be some deep thought into that to make sure that we keep everyone happy, healthy, successful, and safe.
And that's part of, you know, maintaining the character of the community.
Yes.
It's a reason why people love Homewood. It's the reason why you have generations that go away to school, get married, move back to Homewood. It's because of what Homewood is to them. And so Patrick's right. We have to be careful. The growth is wonderful, and we all love to see the economic growth. We love to see a healthy business community. But if we're not balancing the needs of the community along with our growth, then we could be outgrowing ourselves. And I'm not saying that that's the case, but I'm just saying that we need to pay careful consideration to those things. And now, other thing, in regards to parking, I really think that, you know, I don't like to walk either, you know, and I want to pull up right in front of the business and go in as well. And a lot of people may be used to that. I think the perception of the parking is also a part of the messaging that they're not really getting clearly just yet. There is a lot of parking. There are a lot of spaces. And as Viv mentioned, there are a lot of spaces open, and I don't know if people are really even aware that those are spaces that they can utilize. So, you know, maybe we need to look at our messaging to make sure people are aware of it, just kind of change the perception. The more people see growth, the more they think, oh, it's going to be less and less parking. Yeah.
In law enforcement, when you have like a parking or traffic problem, they call this the three E's theory. It's engineering, education, and enforcement. So the first thing you start with engineering to see, you know, can we engineer the problem? The next thing is make sure, and or with engineering, is education. So in this, where our parking spots are, what the time are, and then obviously the last thing would be enforcement. So if you had people that are consistently violating those, upsetting residents, they have to take some enforcement action. And that's obviously the last one that you don't want to do. But there's systematic ways that we can address this. You know, it simply may be education. You know, it
Yeah.
simply may be an engineering problem.
What do you
And
think?
that's something we have to continue to look at as we continue to grow.
Yeah, kind of a continuous
Yeah,
process of
correct.
examination, right? Yeah. Okay, sounds good. Anybody want to weigh in on the Village Hall parking lot project?
I have also not been shy about my comments on that at the board meetings. I don't think that it's the appropriate time for it. I think that I will agree with what Phil said. I think that we do have a lot of parking. I think, so my thoughts on the parking study, if we're going to continue to reference it, we need an updated one. If we're otherwise, all of these signs I think are great. I think they're making, I've seen comments on social media where people have said, I didn't even realize that was public parking. That's the goal, right? That is free public parking for people to utilize to go to our businesses. I think part of it is people don't want to walk. Maybe they're a little bit further away. But I think that we have some other changes that are happening in downtown that we are focused on, and I think we should focus on those first before we eliminate a parking lot. And it just, I've continued to say, it just feels rushed, in my opinion. I think we need to pump the brakes on it, see where all the chips fall, and then maybe it's a project for the future. I will not deny that I think we need the housing. There is certainly a need for the housing in our community, but I don't know if I agree with it being that location. If we can find a different location, I'm all for it moving forward faster, but right now I don't, with all of those things combined, I'm not a big fan of it.
Yeah. What do you think, Vivian, about parking and the project?
I agree with Lauren. We do need housing. Everyone cannot afford a down payment for a home.
Yeah.
There are people that prefer to rent because they want to downsize. They do not no longer want a yard to cut, a house to take care of. So people want the access to an apartment. The Metro is right near the housing that we have right now, the Hartford building, which is great. We have, it's 100% full as far as I think, I don't want to unquote myself, quote unquote, I believe it's 100% full.
Yeah. I think
It
that
is?
may be right. Yeah.
Okay, I'm
Or
not
it
sure.
was.
Yeah, it
early
was,
on,
at
yeah.
least, yeah.
It was, okay.
Yeah.
As far as the project, I have to get back to you on that one.
Okay. All right. Well, you have a couple of months, and then it's
Yeah.
going to be go time.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah, go ahead,
I
Lauren.
think that's a great opportunity for an open forum meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, another trustee asked for more community input on that project, and the staff has been working on that, talking with businesses, talking with residents. So a lot of things are happening behind the scenes for that project and for parking, but I think that would be a great opportunity for one of those town hall meetings.
I
I agree.
I'm not real educated on it, so I apologize, but I believe one of the things I did see, I know another concern was parking for village employees, police, fire, but we have a huge parking lot across the street that nobody uses. There are never cars parked in the St. Joe library, and it's right there. If somebody work or live there, and I believe there is gonna be some parking attached to this new structure, but that parking lot to me seems invisible.
Yeah.
Nobody, I mean, the school's closed down, nobody uses that, so it's not like there is no additional parking.
Yeah, that could be,
Just a thought.
yeah.
Yeah, then there would have to be some type of traffic aids there for
Yeah, correct.
Traffic
people
lights.
coming across,
Yeah,
because
there is not a-
it's
there is
pretty
not a-
busy, especially during rush hour.
Yeah,
That's
that's
pretty
true.
busy
It is.
street right there.
It could be done.
It can be done.
be
Yeah, it
done.
can be done.
Okay. I was hoping we could shift gears a little bit. There's actually two other issues I wanted to bring up. The first one, though, is one that I know Homewood is renowned for good reason for bringing new business to town, but we occasionally hear from small business owners. Patrick may want to start on this one because he is one, about whether or not the village provides enough support for them to develop, make improvements to their properties and really thrive in the town. I guess the question is, does the village do enough? And do you think there are other things the village could do that would provide support?
Well, so I don't have a brick and mortar structure, but my experience, both when I was on the police department and just being a resident, is I think Rich goes way far out of his way to make people feel welcomed. He's very patient with them. He makes sure they are successful. He has the resources. we publicize their business, offer TIFs and any other financial incentives when we can. So my experience is absolutely we do. I mean, and not only do we offer them, we go solicit people to come in town and take our money. I mean, Rich is always out looking for people and trying to get people to see the beauty of Homewood and how great it is for the community. And so, yeah, my opinion is absolutely, we do things for both big and small. That's my opinion, my experience.
I would agree with that, and I'm not a business owner, but I would agree that I think the village offers as much as it possibly can within its purview.
Yeah.
And I think that even within the legalities of what they can offer, they extend beyond that, because it's not just the TIFs or the Class 8s. There's technical assistance that they will provide to businesses if they just come and talk. So I think that most businesses in Homewood recognize that. I've heard of none that have said that. But I'm not Eric, so I don't. They're not all talking to me. But I think the village does a great job of incubating smaller businesses, ensuring their success,
And continuing to support them as well.
Yeah.
And I also think, if I'm not mistaken, that our village has helped small business owners with their facade.
They did have that
Yeah,
program.
they did have that program, exactly.
Yes.
Excellent point.
I've also heard this from chatter online or from community members, but my response is, can you please bring me one business owner who can give us an example of one time that they have ever asked the village for something that within our legal means, within our TIF, within what we can and cannot provide, that they've been denied for no reason or a reason that is not justifiable. And I have yet to hear that example. And then to Phil's point also, not only do we we have the TIF funds that are available to help our business owners, but there have been circumstances where we've gone outside of the TIF and provided additional funds from our general fund for different circumstances for different business owners in the downtown area. So I do think that there is a lot of support, and then the village works great with the Homewood Business Association. The two collaborate. The Homewood Business Association meets at Village Hall with staff members. The economic development team is there. The events coordinator is there. So I think that there's a ton of collaborating effort. So I would love, I've said this to our small business owners. I've said, I wish we could give you more. I wish we could do more. I would do anything within our power to help support our small business, but I haven't been given one example of that not happening that we could have possibly done.
Yeah, good point.
And our community is made up of small businesses.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah.
And they're amazing.
And
I
they
think
are.
our small
They
business
are.
community is phenomenal, and they work well together, and they work well with the village, and I think that we would all love to see that community grow as much as it possibly can.
Okay, great. One last thing. This is a little bit less usual, and the situation is kind of uncertain, so I'm not sure how you may want to respond. But since the new administration has been installed in Washington, the federal government is going through a certain amount of chaos and uncertainty. And that is something that we a lot of times don't think about in day-to-day in our little community, but we're all tied together. And there's funding, but there's also lots of programs that don't directly go through the village, but they affect village residents. Medicaid, Social Security, Medicare, all those programs that help people are now in question. And we don't know whether they'll be around or in what form or how well funded or who will be running them. So have you given thought to what role the village leadership can play in helping our community weather uncertain times?
Well, I'll give you an
Yeah.
example of something that I've dealt with recently is immigration. Where I'm the chief of police, there's a large Hispanic population, and I had residents thinking ICE was coming to their house and they were going to drag them and their kids out of their place of business and schools. I immediately started a campaign, social media campaign, and we had a couple meetings to provide them, educate them. That we were not doing that. We couldn't do that by law. So I think if we look at any of these programs, yes, there's some uncertainty, and I think we're in for. I think that's going to be we're going to experience that for 4 years, and it's going to be good, and there's going to be some bad, and there's going to be some uncertainty. But I think what we can do is maintain professionalism, make sure that we're supportive, make sure that we educate our residents when we can, see if we can provide them services and resources, and be that conduit to make sure that they know about those services through education and allow them to experience them. Phil is going to be a great resource for our residents with that, with emergency management. He's got deep connections with Cook County, so hopefully, through collaboration among the village board and our contacts and our resources, that if somebody does experience that, we'll be able to point them in the right direction and provide them some education and resource.
And also, I think that the communication of real information
Yes.
is definitely
Yes.
going to be critical. So knowing that the village can be a place of solid information that they can rely on and they can count on to be true and vetted is going to be really important. As he said, with Cook County, we're already, our chief financial officer has already sent out memos, and we're talking about it and we're thinking about it, and it's the same at Village Hall. Everybody is concerned about it, and the wheels are already turning to figure out alternative ways to help residents in whichever way we can. But I think that one of the biggest ways in which the village can help the residents who are affected by federal funding or cuts or whatever the case may be is to provide clear, concise information as readily available as
Timely
possible.
too, because these things seem like they change, and when you
Yeah.
don't address those things rapidly, those rumors start to
Yeah.
spiral out of control.
You
So the
know,
earliest
Eric.
we- Yeah,
Yeah, that's a big
right. So the earlier we can get on them, and like Phil said, provide them with real concrete information and the resources to attach that, and/or resources to educate them on, that's where we're gonna be successful.
Yeah.
My concern is about healthcare for our residents, and like you said, the immigrants. It's concerning to me because people are not gonna take care of their health because they're afraid to go to a doctor now, to a hospital, because of what's going on in the government in Washington. So we have to do a good job as our community to let people know that there's a safe space. If we can help all the resources that we have, we're here to help everybody with their health care because, like you said, Medicare, Medicaid, all of that's affected.
Here's another point about this, and one of the reasons I brought this up about the immigration thing was, obviously, the other points I made, but there's a spiral effect to not providing people with good education, and I brought this up to my village board, and I said, if they think the police are going to be taking some immigration enforcement action, and you're not, what could happen? The police officer shows up there for no reason at all, just shows up or happens to be there for another issue or a minor issue, and this person believes they're gonna be deporting. Look how that could spiral. However, so there's some true safety issues with this. If they understand that they see us and they're not gonna take this action, they're legally prohibited, it's gonna put them at ease, because these situations could rapidly become very dangerous and unsafe when they don't have to be, just through bad information or not being educated on a topic.
It's a public safety.
Yeah, there is a
aspect
huge
of
public
that.
safety, and I don't think a lot of people believe that or understand that.
So it's critical to make sure that you are communicating with those trusted community resources, whether it be faith-based or community-based
Absolutely,
organizations.
all of them.
Those places that people feel
Schools.
safe going to, that's where you got to get your information.
That's correct.
And I know we've talked about healthcare and public safety, and I think one big thing that could shift and is a concern for our community is education. If the Department of Education is dismantled, what does that look like? Where is the funding coming from for the school? I think that our staff at the village and staff at the school work really well together. I would love to see some collaborative effort between our boards. If there's creative ideas that we can band together and support each other, or the village can help support the school if the Department of Education is dismantled. I think that, and across the board, things are happening so fast, but they're also changing, and if we put out information and then it changes immediately, then, I think we have to see what happens also, and then be the source of information for our community and work with the library board, the school board, the park district, and collaborate and make our community stronger if all of these federal programs are taken away.
I mean, this gets so granular. Think about even if funding gets taken away for school lunches, breakfasts in the morning, where you have kids that aren't eating, and you're going to school and you're expecting them to learn and these are serious concerns, and I don't think people realize the spider webs and how deeply
Right.
impacting this could actually be.
Yeah.
I did talk to our state representative, Will Davis, about this, and there's hope that the funding is still going to come, that it's just not going to be, that there won't be federal mandates. So I don't want people to, I continue to tell people that because we want to hang on to hope that the federal funding will continue to come. There just won't be federal mandates, and then it will be down to the state of what will happen with that funding. So I hope that that's what ends up happening, but I think that there's plenty of opportunity for us all to collaborate within our community and within the HF community, because we have 153, 161, the park district overlaps, so everybody collaborating together to build a stronger community if all of these things start to
And
happen.
there's a lot of strong resources there to
Yeah, I
draw
was gonna
from.
say that silver lining might be that we're already connected, but it might make people collaborate even
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
closely
Right.
and more
Yeah,
intentionally.
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, that kind of covers most of the ground that I was hoping to cover. I want to give you each an opportunity to say a couple more words if you have anything that's on top of mind that we haven't addressed. Let us know what you're thinking. We'll start with Patrick again.
I think Rich has put together such a fantastic board, and I've had different levels of experience with the board, but I'm just so impressed by every piece of this, every single piece of this. How he put his team together here, and the differences, the diversity, and the resources that we have is amazing. I think everyone here is highly intelligent. Most of all, they love the community and they want to be part of it. I'm going to tell a quick story about Rich that I heard recently, and it blew me away. And when he asked me to be part of this, this is what sealed the deal for me. And I've known him for a long time, and his heart's there. Somebody had asked him recently what his biggest success was. Was it the casino? And he said no. And when I heard this, it was just very touching. And he is Homewood. When you think about Rich Hofeld, he's Homewood. He says, my biggest accomplishment was solving a problem behind the neighborhood behind Dairy Queen, that they were having flooding issues. And I said, okay. And because he solved the whole neighborhood problems, because he was able to fix a serious problem that had been going on for years and nobody had given it attention, and he solved that problem, and he made a whole neighborhood better. He made them whole, and he has so much trust. And for me personally, again, I've seen communities that are not as well run. None of them are, and if I do this, I want to be part of this team where it's so professional and I honestly, because I love the community, I truly want to make a difference.
Thanks, Patrick. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
What do you say, Vivian? Do you have anything more to add?
I also want to keep continuing to do what I do with the community. I think it's growing by leaps and bounds, it's thriving, the growth is there. As Phil said, people go to college, they come back, they raise their families here, and it's just an awesome community. We're the gem of the Southland.
Absolutely.
People aspire, or communities aspire to be like Homewood.
Yeah.
We're in the middle, but people, Chicago, Indiana, they come here, they bring their dollars here to support our community.
Yeah.
I believe that's why we're thriving as a great community.
We bring people in, yeah, that's our economic engine there,
Yes.
yeah. Hey, what do you think, Lauren?
Well, I am one of those people that grew up here, left to go to college in Chicago, so far away, and then came back and bought my first home here in Homewood, and then my husband and I got married, had 3 babies, bought our second home in Homewood because we outgrew our first one, and I always tell people, I say, if I graduated from HF in 2003, and if you would have told me when I was graduating high school that I would be living in Homewood and raising my family in Homewood, I would have told you were crazy. But so much has happened in that 22 years that, Halstead was empty, and we did not have the downtown that we did, and property values were not where they were. Homewood is the gem where we have affordable housing, good schools, economic development to keep our property taxes reasonable, and it's what I say is the perfect sauce here, and I love being involved. I like when people reach out to me and I can facilitate, like I'll say, here, reach out to this person, that they'll help you with that, just being that person, a connector from the community. And I'm the only board member who has kids in the school, so I think I have a unique perspective from that point too, to see what's happening at the schools, and I would love to see more collaborating happening there. I think we're doing really great things. I'm excited about a lot of things that have come to Homewood over the last couple of years, and I would love to see it grow even more. And I think we do have great leadership. I say often that we have great department heads. They're the experts in their fields, and they're very good at what they do, and we're just going to keep growing and keep improving as much as we can.
Excellent, thank you. Appreciate it.
Who wouldn't want to be in Homewood? Yeah. I love this community. I love the integrity and the character of it, as I've said before. Now, when I was growing up, my dad always made sure that we took care of our neighbors, looked out for our neighbors. I would get in trouble if I stopped my snow shovel right at Mrs. Dillsworth's beginning of our property line. We had to look out for each other. And my dad always told us that, relationships in your community are not transactional. They should be relational and transformational. And so that basically means you do for your neighbors as you would like for them to do for you, but you do it without the thought that something is coming right back to you. It's for the greater good. And that's what I think we do, as board members. We try to give intentional thought capital to problems that represent the whole of the community. And that's a great honor and it's a great responsibility. So I really want to just be a part of the growth. I'm excited about so many of the projects and so many of the things that have happened in this past year. I want to continue to be a part of that. And I'm a neighbor. I'm a neighbor. I live and take cookies from Joan McKinnon and help Bob and Kay with the snow, and they do the same for us. And I want to meet more of these residents. I want to know all of our neighbors, and I want to be a voice for them and a safe place for them to express their concerns.
Thank you all very much. We appreciate you taking the time to come out tonight and have a conversation, help our community know more about who they're voting for. We'll have an opportunity to vote for if they choose. So thank you again from the Homewood-Flossmoor Chronicle and Bionic Contact.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Eric.
Thank you.